Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our deciding Game 3, Vici Gaming versus LGD. Winner will go to the Star Ladder Season 12 Land Finals. I'm LD, and I'm joined here by Zyori. Hey, Andrew.
Hi, LD.
I thought I had you muted.
Good, sorry.
Okay, that's okay.
No, that one was on my end. Finishing up my last round of messages before we get into game number 3 here. So this is really what it comes down to, a best of 3 into a best of 1. And this is really where things get interesting. These teams have had a few games to feel each other out, see a couple of their surprises, and, well, we see some familiar faces here. Lion, the heavy priority for Vici Gaming. This time they'll get the Shadow Fiend to pair with them. And LGD, Storm Spirit, Bristle again. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And they're going to try their luck once more.
All right, it's a solid combo. It worked well for them last time around, but Vici Gaming, kind of back to basics here with the Shadow Fiend pick. We're not going to see the Drow Ranger strat. It seems like they may even shy away from the Phoenix this time. Perhaps we're going to see that something like the Clockwork offlane for Ice Ice Ice. Could be a different type of strategy here. What do they want to do? We've seen them run a variety of openings, and looking at gonna bring up some of their recent matches, but I feel like we've seen the Slark here and there for How. They have run him on. Historically, he's played some Spectre, some more aggressive type carries, even the anti-mage at times. So I mean, there are all kinds of things that Vici Gaming could pull out, but even I would say even the Queen of Pain Shadow Fiend, more like secret style, but of course that is banned out. Oh, the other hero they ran was the Offlane Void for Ice 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 versus Newbie. So if they feel like they need to mix it up, that could be a possibility here.
Yeah, that ended up just being a very rough Phoenix game. We really hyped up the power of the Wind Ranger and Phoenix together against that Lesh Rubik Spectre tri-lane of LGD. And it seemed like Vici maybe just got a little bit cocky in their off-lane is the word that I would use, with FY falling so early on. And they tried to stay aggressive in the lane, but just simply couldn't handle all that damage output. And I think they just need to not lose 2 of their heroes so hard in that laning phase. Could have been a totally different game if they had just played a little bit more defensively and not fed so much to that Spectre early on. I mean, Sylar had first blood on Spectre. That's usually a pretty bad way to start off a game if you're going up against that. So we'll see what they do here. Juggernaut now the final ban from LGD, and they will have the luxury of the first third pick. Probably want to grab a support here to start rounding out their roster. Still a lot of options in the pool.
The Storm Zeus duo is denied to LGD. It was something that fell short versus IG yesterday. They turtled exceptionally well with the Burning Jug, the Medusa, neither of which have been shown in this game yet. Now the Jug gets banned out, so we're definitely not going to see him. But LGD go a slightly different direction here. They're going to pick up their Shadow Shaman. It gives them a bit of extra oomph to the push. Interesting choice. They really seem to favor this hero. I'm not sure if they prefer it over the Lion, or if it's just that they want a Hex and Lion's already been picked up, but he obviously brings a little bit of a different flavor to the table with the wards, and it seems that Xiaoweit's been able to get his levels pretty quickly on this hero in the past, so a solid choice for LGD.
Yeah.
Though it does open you up to some aggressive lanes potentially if Vici Gaming want to go that route.
Yeah, I think Shadow Shaman in general, it feels a little underrated right now. He really doesn't get picked up too much, and I feel like the Chinese scene is the only time I see him picked, even occasionally. And even though he does have some drawbacks, Blink Hex, always quite potent, and if the game goes late, if you can get an Ags or a Refresher or some combination of both, those wards can really do a lot of pushing power. So Vici will think about it here. Very open-ended draft for them. On the Dire side, they could look for something a little more minus armor-centric. Eventual Spirit still in the pool. They could look at a TA, perhaps, even a Lycan, something like that. Or they could do something completely different. Time will tell, and well, I think we might have to just be patient here, LD. I don't know exactly what they have in mind.
Yeah, there's the Void. Again, he's a good hero in combination with the Shadow Fiend, but then you do want extremely high damage supports. They've got one who can dish it out in the Lion. For now, they go Tree. Are they going that Tree Phoenix combo again? Do they have that much faith in the Phoenix? You know, one other hero that Vici Gaming do like to run is the Ember Spirit. That's something that we've seen once in a while for How. The other hero that I was like thinking, like, I feel like Hal's been playing a lot of different heroes. He's played a little Lifestealer. It's been about 3 days since his last Lifestealer game. I don't think it's a Lifestealer game, and after this Lich pick, it's definitely not feeling like the best Lifestealer game. But just to kind of highlight his versatility as a carry, that is another hero we've seen him on as of late. I think the Ember is not a terrible choice here if they want to go that route. They do need more catch, so it's got to be either him getting something that can lock down the Storm, or maybe Ice 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 if they want to pick up that Void for him, but Chrono is not a guaranteed solution versus Storm. If he's quick on the ball out, you do see the Void time walking in. The Chrono has a slight wind-up with the cast animation, so you can potentially just ball out before he drops that sphere.
Yeah. I do feel like this is somewhat likely to be a Phoenix pick. It is a hero that, even though Vici didn't execute with well last game, they may be saying to themselves, well, with a Treant Protector, it's a totally different ball game, and that's much more in our comfort zone. They are running low on reserve time, so we'll see here pretty quickly. Timbersaw was what they played before, but okay, Doom for Vici Gaming. I guess that is your Ice 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 hero there, but
are they
a much different take indeed.
Are they going to buck the trend here with the Doom? I'm going to check the win rate on this hero, but every time I see the Doom picks come out lately in this patch, I feel like he's a game-losing hero. Now, he has a 50% win rate in the patch, so that's not actually true. It's just been my anecdotal experience. I do look at that heartbreaking loss that Wheel had in the grand finals of the America qualifiers versus Tinkerware. It felt like they had a great draft. They went for a last pick Doom. It was a pretty limited hero pool, and IX Mike, unfortunately, 1v1 against Clockwork, Bulba's Clockwork, just got run over. And I think with Vici Gaming, they're probably going to make more accommodations to give this Doom some security. It is possible to HAL Doom. That's the other thing, is they could run a one-position Doom.
I was just going to say that. Yeah, he played it about 8 days ago in Starladder, actually. So this very well could be your safe lane farming Doom here, and they are still looking for this off-laner last pick, and that's what LGD seems to think. They ban out the Timbersaw this time, and here Vici ban out the Razor.
It's against a Bristle,
so it could still be a Phoenix last pick here.
Like, in the late, yeah, it could be and maybe then they kind of juggle the lanes to dodge the Doom versus Bristle matchup, but in the laning stage, that is a lane that Bristle will get a lot out of. But the Tree Lion is likely to kind of be moving around the map, and well, you want to delete heroes? That's great. We'll play your games, LGD. We're gonna get the ultimate deleter with the Necrophos.
The old man hacker. He knows how to get in there and mess around with that source code and prevent that buyback button from working. This is quite the irritating carry to go up against.
Yeah, this hero is... This is the guy that can just prevent the rubber band snapback and just rip it apart entirely. Not cool, rubber band, bro. You think you're going to turn this fight with buybacks and win the game? Too bad. You're deleted. You don't have a chance to. It's also a great counter to Spectre, but I don't think that wasn't what Vici Gaming had in mind with this Doom pick. That would be ridiculously weak in the laning stage. This I did not expect. They go PL. They have not run PL once in the last 10 games. Oh, actually, no, that's not true. They ran it versus Vici Gaming Potential in D2CL, which I did not watch, but okay. Well, as you might expect, they beat their B team.
Lane PL as well.
Ice PL. All right.
So this is fun. Now, I have to shout out to David Parker. He's the one that keeps saying over and over, Phantom Lancer, he is an off-laner. These changes, he's so elusive. He doesn't need nearly as much farm early on to be effective like he used to. You can go Diffusal first item and really get a lot done. Parker seemed confident that he has settled for the off lane. I haven't seen it at all. Every time I've seen PL run, it's been a safe lane farmer, that kind of classic. Let's just get him safe lane farm and get that huge snowball rolling, stay very quiet in the early game. So I'm really excited to see how this works out. But again, Vici must be feeling brave here, picking a hero like this out of their comfort zone in an elimination match where it's all on the line. Very bold. I like it.
LGD faced them in the winner's bracket. They won that series 2-1. But it could be the opportunity here for Vici Gaming to bounce back. They control their own destiny. This is your deciding Game 3. The last game of Starladder China, the winner goes to the LAN Finals. Vici Gaming Dire will introduce them along with LGD right now. FY, playing your support Treant Protector. Bringing up the PL, as you mentioned, will be Ice Ice Ice. Super on the Shadow Fiend going mid. HAL will be the Doom. So it is not the offlane Doom, the 3-position Doom that we've been seeing more of lately. Fenrir, rounding things out for Vici Gaming, will be on the Lion. So it's an off-lane PL. They do have living armor to help out the little guy a bit, and there isn't a great hero to quickly or instantly remove that living armor. They don't have amazing damage over time, so it's a decent tree game. That said, like you mentioned, all the other teams that are running PL are running him as a 1 position. I think the big team that comes to mind is Cloud9, but we'll see if Vici Gaming can prove that this works in pro play. It's one thing to see it in pubs, but, well, at least for me, I've yet to see it in the offlane.
So on the Radiant side, we've got LGD Yao once again playing the Bristleback in the off lane. It will be Zhao 8 on the Lich, ready to deny in the mid lane. Maybe takes the Storm Spirit mid. MMY supporting the safe lane on the Shadow Shaman. And Sylar on the Necrophos. And what the hell is this set that this Necrophos is wearing? What is this hat? I do not approve, LD. This is ridiculous.
That is disgusting. Just a hideous.
That is one of the ugliest sets I have ever seen. No offense, but oh my gosh. Okay,
that
so
tops
now
the
that
charts.
that out of the way.
Yep, that tops the charts.
That's pretty bad. I've never seen that before either. I don't know where that came from, but
you know, for a while I thought that the Casper Nick set was the worst item in the game, and now I'm starting to second guess it. All right. So what are our lanes looking like
versus
here?
Storm? Yeah. Should be a pretty even mid matchup here. Yao in the off lane. Should do okay. Lion and Doom for now. Looks like Tree busy just stacking up in the jungle, and they'll leave Ice 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 to his lonesome. I'm still a little curious how he'll itemize this Phantom Lancer. I think that's the biggest question mark for me with him in the off lane.
Yeah, expect a lot of very cheap items, cost-effective items. In general, this hero can use them well. So your Reign of Aquila, I imagine we'll see an early Treads pickup. We have seen some PLs go for the Vlads more when they're like a 1 position just to give their teammate the lane. I know I saw someone from North America do it recently in the Star Ladder qualifiers. I forget who was running it. But generally, kind of the standard build, I guess, is that Diffusal Blade, Yasha, Manta, your go-to illusion carry items. Not sure if he'll get a lot of farm this game, though. For now, Ice 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 just content to leech experience, and well, he's going to come in here and contest the Shadow Shaman a little bit, who is not the best zoning support once he chews through his mana pool. And with the boots first, he doesn't have a whole lot of regen to work with. Ice 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 about to hit level 3 at 2 minutes. He's having a good start here in the offlane.
Yeah, he certainly is. It looks like Ice 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 has actually played this a little bit more frequently than I thought recently. He's played it once in D2CL, and it looks like he actually has played it twice in D2CL in the offlane. So, all right, a little more precedented than I'd originally thought. And it looks like he does do a build similar to what you're talking about. Sanjin Yasha, drums, early diffusal, that kind of stuff. So mid lane could see a potential courier snipe here. FY lingering nearby. Do LGD move the courier around the other side? Oh, you enduring war dog. Zhao 8 here, the guardian of the couriers. Looks like he will keep their war dog safe. Or will he? FY, he wants it. He's moving in. But the leafy tree will be pushed back by a Frost Nova.
Yeah, there was basically no way with the Lich there, but he makes a go of it, and you know, it's not been a particularly impactful start for the tree. They're getting out farmed in pretty much every lane, aside from this safe lane where the Doom is slightly out CSing the off lane Bristle, but not keeping the Bristle out. So far, the tree feels fairly low impact. Perhaps he is helping Ice 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 though, who drops low, almost ends up giving up a kill here. He's gonna have to salve and tango up. Does go for the standard build so far. The Doppelganger Spirit Lance. Looks like the Tranquil Boots come out. Maybe we see the Tranquil Soul Rain and just like the constant Lance spam. This used to be your go-to PL build back before the Tranquil Boots got nerfed. And you could and can no longer be disassembled.
Yeah, back in the day. So Sylar getting pretty good farm out of the safe lane here. Just boots Bassy for now and having a pretty good time against the PL. How's Yao doing? It seems like he's always up against this creep wave, and yeah, already level 4. Not finding too much in the way of last hits. I think 7 and 2, pretty good. And How is similarly farming okay himself. He did devour one of the centaurs already, so has the War Stomp. And now Zhao 8 will rotate back up to the top and secure more lane control for Yao. All things considered, both offlaners having a pretty good time here, and it seems like a pretty even laning stage. LGD with a very minor lead. Seems they are just CSing a little bit better. with Storm Spirit starting to pull ahead in this mid lane against Super Shadow Fiend.
Yeah, just getting decent experience as well. Both offlaners doing pretty well. Ice hits level 5 already, and now he's going to charge in bottom. May try to make a go here on MMY. There's slum kill potential with the Lance. This Shadow Shaman's very squishy. He may end up getting... Well, he needs one more Lance to go for that, but a little worried about the Necro rotation. Still, he has the potential to catch MMY out and force him back to the tower. There's a Sentry Ward, though, and it looks like he's just going to choose to play it safe here in the end.
Yeah, the Doppelganger ability, kind of strange in the amount of damage it does. It scales very nicely once you get that Diffusal Blade, but before that, kind of awkward where one of them doesn't do any damage, but it sort of takes the same amount of damage you do, and the other one takes absurd damage and does 20% of your damage. So Spirit Lance is really your big damage dealer here, and Ice still having a good time. And once he finds level 6, maybe things just get a pinch easier here. Xiaowei spending a lot of time in the mid lane, though. I guess realizing that the Bristle can kind of hold his own, doesn't need a Lich to babysit him. Opens up space for him to stay mid, and it's making things very easy for Maybe. The Shadow Fiend has now moved into the jungle to secure himself some of that additional farm and utilize these stacks that FY has found for him. And now that means the Storm Spirit is in free farm heaven. An uncontested lane for him is nothing he'll complain about.
Yeah, both teams with their stacks. There's a lot sitting back for the Storm and potentially the Bristle as well. They're going to begin stacking the Ancient, so it'll be stack Dota from LGD as they look to equalize with that Shadow Fiend. Maybe hits level 6, super. Already up to 7.5 thanks to his stacks, but this is before the Storm goes to clean his up, and it looks like he'll be rotating over there now. Has the treads. Oh, Ice may end up going down your bottom.
He's hasted up now. He might be able to make it out. They've already used the Reaper Scythe. Wasn't enough for the kill. Living Armor does come through, and that'll at least keep Ice 3 safe for now. Sylar not interested in diving into the tower, looking for an easy kill, and will be forced back. So that's your first Reaper Scythe. Does not yield a kill. Now a smoke rotation from Vici, Fenrir, and FY with their 2 supports on their way down. Looking to support their Phantom Lancer and maybe find a turnaround kill. MMY,
they have the Lance.
The smoke. He's got boots, and he'll be okay. Okay, for now, Lance into the tower, the tree, thinking about a wraparound, but nope, not going to dive it here.
Yeah, it's worried about these TPs as well, though. Little do they know, Maybe is in no position to counter gank. He's almost dead, as he did finish clearing out the majority of that stack. He's going to back off. FY looking to scout out, but it's a bit late. There are still 2 big creeps here, though. Maybe they look to steal these. They're bringing in 3. It's going to be a quad rotation on the mid in total with the Shadow Friend, and well, they will maybe go for Xiaowei before he gets level 6. It's not a bad time to strike for now. Setting up. Oh, they may be waiting for the Storm to come back and finish off these juicy stacks. Super. Gonna clean out 1. Double stack as Storm leaps forward onto Fenrir. Quick first blood. All right. Well, that's not exactly the result that Vici were hoping for. Now Maybe zipping forward. He's out of mana, though. Maybe turned on by Super. Your raises stacking up. They get the kill. FY surviving courtesy of your Leech Seed, and he'll TP out. Looks like he makes it out in the end. MMY still hunting, but unable to find any counter kills. A 1-for-1 in the end with the stack stolen, but they do end up scoring a first blood there on the Storm.
Ends up okay for Vici, like you said. First blood on the Storm Spirit, so not all bad for him. The Lion unfortunately stunned this creep camp here where the Wild Wings are right as the Storm revealed himself. So just unfortunate timing there, hoping to soften up the creeps and thinking Storm would be a little more delayed in his travels into the jungle. So just a bad start for him, and Super ends up getting that recovery kill. Now he's got power treads and, well, about 1,000 gold to boot. So this Shadow Fiend feeling pretty strong. Phantom Lancer, though, not feeling nearly as strong. Looks like Sylar will pick up a kill in the bottom lane. Doesn't even need the Reaper's Scythe for it. Just in a little bit too deep.
Oh, totally missed that one. Sorry, guys. I was unfortunately alt-tab checking something on the tech end, but do apologize for that. Nice kill there on the Phantom Lancer, and now we're going to see the stacks being cleared out for Yao. He goes back to his Ancients. LGD, thanks to these stacks, pulling ahead here. 1,500 gold, about 2,000 experience up already. And Vici Gaming, truth be told, outside of the Shadow Fiend, they don't really flash farm to the extent that LGD do. LGD have the Ancient Farmer as their offlaner. And on top of that, they got the Storm who can clear out the jungle. So if this just turns into a stack and farming war, it seems like LGD are going to emerge the victors there. And The one concern for Vici is how do they punish it? They don't push that hard. They've got a Doom with the Midas. Maybe can keep up in terms of gold for his team thanks to that, but that's about it. They can't really take objectives to try and basically deprive LGD of something in exchange for all that early extra farm.
Well, Super is going for that mech build here on the Shadow Fiend. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, but opting for the mech instead of the Yules is usually a sign that you want to group up and team fight a little bit more rather than sit in the jungle and solo farm with your raises. And we'll see Vici start to make that first move towards the tier 1 tower in the top lane. 4 heroes all grouped up, and they get it. Uncontested. Shadow Fiend gets the last hit on the tower. LGD starting to rotate over. They find a courier. They claim the prize, and boy, does that baby have a lot of cargo. That's going to be your magic wand for Hao, as well as his point booster. So unfortunate for the Doom. That'll, well, make him a little squishier for the next 3 minutes. But not the end of the world.
Yeah. At this point, Hao is just kind of off in the woods. So we'll see how much that actually ends up hurting him. But it's a nice pick off as well. Additional income for LGD, which puts them at about a 2,000 gold lead, a 3,000 experience lead. And mind you, this is against a Shadow Fiend, normally a very good hero at accruing an advantage, as well as a Midas Doom with Max Devour in the safe lane. So to still have a gold lead as LGD is awful impressive. And this is without a tower. Just purely in terms of keeping up in farm and stacks and finding the first blood. They are going to make their way top, though. Here we go.
Uh-oh, Hao in some trouble. Even Chain Frost deployed for this. It'll bounce around the creeps and go right back into the Doom's face. Easy kill for Zhao 8 on the Lich, and they may not be done yet. Vici still have a few heroes nearby, lined with the Nature's Guys on. It will expire in the tree line. But are they safe? It doesn't look like it, maybe. He'll get hexed up. Yao diving the tower. His Super is going to be the one that TP's in. Looking for a kill on defend rear. They will find it. Now maybe low on mana, trying to make his escape. He will just TP home. Requiem's already been used. No way to stop him. The elusive Storm Spirit does make it out. Nice series of kills there as LGD further their lead now 4-1. And all the while in the mid lane, it's MMY doing some split pushing. He's got Rosta wards down. Hao will TP in with a Doom ready. But a speedy Zhao 8 comes flying in as well. And they will do some pretty good damage to this tower. Hao can't really kill these Serpent wards that fast, though. It looks like he will keep the tower alive. Maybe they'll let it fall into deny range. Nope, they'll keep it as healthy as possible.
Yeah, both teams fairly durable here with your Leech Seed, the double Vex, the Necrophos, also a hero that has some heals to bring to the table, and it's not easy to find some of these kills. Even the Doom is a beefcake, and that's before the point booster is actually available, as you mentioned that Courier did end up getting sniped, but he'll have it fairly soon. And I wonder if LGD want to make their go before that Courier respawns. It's coming in about 40 seconds. Doom is online, but, you know, so far we just haven't seen Vici Gaming really able to apply pressure. And I wouldn't say the offlane peel is necessarily a failure, but it's not exactly having a huge impact yet. He's 0-1 with 1 assist, did not slow down the safe lane Shadow Shaman support at all, has not really participated much in fights, and frankly just isn't doing much at this point.
Well, it definitely is not a tempo-controlling offlaner. We'll hold that thought here as Hao gets jumped on in the jungle. LGD rotate their entire team. They find him. Mech comes out, but Chain Frost is there. It'll take 1 bounce. Connects on Super. Now LGD need to decide how they want to handle this as Vici start to rotate over. It looks like they will continue to move as a 5-man squad as they ping out the tier 1 tower in the top lane. But yeah, Ice on this PL. You don't really expect him to be controlling any tempos here. It's definitely more of a farming offlaner that will just be looking to split the map, split push a little bit, and try and open up some more efficiency for his team. Looks like the beginnings of the defusal is here as he does have that first Blade of Alacrity. That's still a ways to go before he really looks scary. Now in the top lane, LGD, they get Rosta wards down to pressure that tower, and Vici start to move into the tier 1 mid, but appears that LGD will get the better of this. They can take out the tier 1 top, and now they're starting to rotate heroes mid to try and mount a defense. Zhao 8, the first one to TP in. Will anyone else rotate through? Nope, doesn't look like it. It will end up being a tower-for-tower exchange. They will, however, come back to defend their bottom tier 1 and repel the Phantom Lancer.
The tower does end up going down and not denied in the end, so as you mentioned, a 1-for-1 around the map as far as towers go. Vici Gaming, though, for a team that's running a Midas Doom, a safe lane, Max Devour, this is Not a great start for them. All 3 cores on LGD racking up the creeps. Technically, Vici Gaming are as well. But it just doesn't feel like they're able to keep up in terms of items here. The offlane PL still yet to really flex his muscles. Now, obviously, this hero scales pretty hard into the late game. We have seen some disgusting, 8-slotted PLs. Misery was in the chat earlier, I saw him. He's certainly had his fair share of those games as of late, so... It just takes a while when he starts in the offlane is the main issue.
Yeah, I feel like this LGD draft is pretty strong because they have the pushing power to actually bring the fight to Vici. But here we go, initiation in the jungle. Zyori, the one that gets doomed. Chain Frost cools down, but it's still only a Lich that's doomed up. There's your mech. MMY goes down first. It's LGD on the back foot as Vici just heading forward. Now FY, he'll be the next to go down. Actually a buyback from MMY as well to get back into this fight and use those wards when they come off cooldown. They will find the kill onto Lion, maybe zipping around like crazy. Yao on the front lines, and here we go. Xiaowe's back, baby. Chain Frost bouncing around. A decent Delta split, but the damage has been done. And a fight that looked like would go well for Vici ends up as a disastrous trade. 4 dead on their side. LGD have to burn a buyback to make it happen. But Shadow Fiend will be the lone survivor. And looking at that teamfight recap, net worth trade about a break even, but LGD will command and conquer and maybe even claim a tier 1 tower in the bottom lane as a result.
Yeah, 2 for 4. Did they end a big streak there? Because, I mean, I guess it's just the rubber band in action. It ends up being a decent trade despite... Yeah. It's a 2 for 4 with the buyback, but, well, still works out okay.
Buyback on the Shadow Shaman.
It was actually a dieback, I guess, so it's a 4 for 3 then? Because he died,
yeah,
right?
Maybe it's the 4 for 3, you're right.
Yeah, so I guess
there's actually no icon for that in the teamfight recap. If you die, buyback, and die again, I don't think there's a little 2x next to the deaths. So, yeah, that's probably why it looked so even. Good call.
All right, well... Still, when the dust settles, a fairly even trade, I suppose, and I think Vici are happy with even trades at this stage of the game. Given that they're playing from a deficit, they have excellent late game in theory with Aghadim's Doom, the double Doom, they'll potentially coming out at some stage. They'll be happy to just slow the game down, have back and forth exchanges, and this does get Ice to a point a bit quicker. Now hits level 11, has the level 2 juxtapose, is closing in on the Diffusal Blade, and as we all know, that's the huge item for PL. You get a Diffusal Blade, suddenly Bristleback may not have mana in the team fight, Sylar may run out of his pretty quickly, and he can actually start to have a big impact. Still not quite there yet, but his team's buying him time. LGD look to pour that time out of the hourglass, though, as they're going to pressure this bottom lane.
Yeah, and Vici will come to contest. Ice in the front lines, and the rest of their team following up Doom. The only one not here as he is trying to farm away in the jungle and make the most out of his time. He does have an Aghanim Scepter now completed, and he will TP in. It's a full 5-on-5 at his bottom tier 1 tower. FY goes in, overgrowth on 5, but now the Chain Frost bounces through. Rasta wards will come down, and it's maybe in the front lines. He brings down the line first. Now How caught by shackles. He dooms one, but is it going to be enough? Sylar will end up falling here. Not an ideal fight for Vici, though. Ice in very deep to make these kills happen. Will be a 1 for 3 trade, and they will be able to claim this tier 1 tower.
And just lucky it wasn't LGD. A 1 for 4. Oh my. They commit everything on that Necrophos, and then there's just nothing left for round 2 of the engagement. That's a costly one. And now, another tower going down. And this is, mind you, they're getting these towers against a Treant Protector. A hero whose big strength is keeping structures up. It really hurts not being able to hold these towers and turtle towards late game. A nice fight once more for LGD.
Yeah, absolutely. And the point I wanted to make before the last team fight was that LGD have this Shadow Shaman to give them that pushing power to actually bring the fight to Vici. If they just had this lineup with any other support that, even if it was just a line that didn't have that pushing power, I'd think, okay, well, they're winning by a little bit now, but Vici have these late game tools, and I don't see how they're going to breach high ground before these Midases really kick in. But looking at this game, Vici are constantly on the defensive, have to rotate out of the jungle to defend their towers, and they're still not really in fighting form. Sure, they've got the mech, the Aghanims on Doom helps, but it's just single target, even with an overgrowth on 5 heroes. I mean, that fight started almost as a dream for Vici. They had a Requiem that connected on at least 2 or 3, didn't do much damage, but still got that debuff to reduce their damage output. And then the Chain Frost happened, and after that, it seemed Vici were forced to Delta split, run into different directions, and that was enough chaos for LGD to start finding pickoffs and get the momentum in the fight.
Oh boy. Well, for now, trying to hang on, farm up towards late game is... It'll be LGD's turn to make a move. They've got 11 Bloodstone charges on maybe. They are looking large and in charge here, and they will smoke the other 3. Swinging around towards bottom. Gonna join forces with Yao on the Bristleback. They'll chuck out the Frost Armor onto him. He's a little bit low in terms of health. He needs a bit of regen here to get fully involved, but it seems for now they'll be allowed to split push. Super has completed the BKB, as you mentioned. He's a big force in these fights, but well, even if he survives, he doesn't hit that hard right now. They don't have any other physical damage amps. There's no Venge, no other minus armor to speak of. They don't have an Alpha Wafar yet. Not even the attack speed are of the Ursa, so... he will get off the Requiem and his nukes, but his auto attacks against Frost Armor and the mech may not amount to all that much.
Yeah, Vici still, it just feels like nobody's really doing the damage. You've got a Doom who can Doom 1, and then that's about it here. They will smoke and try to find the wraparound. Is this the initiation they've been looking for to catch LGD? And Chain Frost in the trees. Oh, Vici off to a rocky start. It will take a couple of bounces. They force out the BKB on Super, but How goes down right away before he can even use his ultimate. Yao on the front line, spamming out those quills. There will be a big overgrowth from the tree, and it looks like Vici might actually win coming out of this clusterfuck of a fight in the trees. And yeah, Yao ends up going down a 1 for 4 after that brilliant initiation from LGD.
Man.
Finally the fight that Vici needed, and they'll get about a 3K net worth gain out of it.
Yao just hit, or not Yao, maybe just hit the ejector seat. He's just like, get me out of here, man. I want no part of this fight. And, well, now Diffusal Blade's online. He didn't even have it for the last fight. They're able to take it without it. Imagine what's going to happen when they have it. And on top of that, they didn't get off a Doom there, I don't think. So, well,
nope.
Imagine the fight with a Diffusal on PL as well as a Doom. It seems like they've weathered the storm. Now they're looking towards Roche. And speaking of that storm, maybe wants to snipe this Aegis. He's just a bit late. He wanted to get some vision with a Remnant and then jump in for a steal, but unable to find the opening. And now Ice gonna hunt him, chucks out a Lance, nice dodge there, but still to chase onward. Mana's gonna become an issue, he's able to TP out before he loses it all, but, well, LGD, the way they're itemizing and the kind of lineup they have with this, the Bristleback Necrophos especially, these heroes really want to push their advantage, drop the wards at a tower, and just semi-death ball even. Sure, they've got a Storm who can go late, but the rest of the lineup is much more of a 5-man lineup at this stage, and yeah. I don't know if they're going to be able to, or even going to want to push in after the way that last exchange was.
Yeah, I mean, that last fight was just brilliant initiation from Vici with the smoke wraparound to get it started. And I really thought being in that tiny corridor would really benefit LGD. You've got a Bristleback, you've got a Chain Frost, and even just Heartstopper Aura. These are abilities that were hitting all 5 heroes of Vici Gaming, but seemed like they were able to win throughout the chaos, and I guess all things considered, the Chain Frost wasn't really too effective. Here we'll see Yao initiated on in the bottom lane. He gets doomed after the Diffusal usage comes out, and that's an easy pick off there. Chain Frost won't find any bounces, and now PL, he'll be okay. Using that Doppelganger to much avail, we'll move back to safety. So just like that, Vici find a pick off, and slow down momentum for LGD once more. I feel like this Radiant side need to get it together here, LD. A few more failed team fights, and this will get very out of control with these dire carries getting big and bad very quickly.
There you go. They continue to pressure. And if you're LGD, how do you really start the fight here? Does your Storm want to jump in? Doom is on cooldown, but there's a Lion just sitting back, ready to hex at a moment's notice. And until you get a BKB or an Orchid on your Storm, I don't think he can come to the fights. He's just going to split push. Meanwhile, FY finagling for that big overgrowth, which made such a difference in the choke point that you mentioned over near the Ancients. Now yeah. Vici. They're getting close to some big items here. BKB coming out for How. Your Shadow Fiend going to complete a Yasha as well. Actually, make it a full Manta style for Super. Man, he's also very big at this point. And
yeah, that last fight really helped him out. He's now 5-0-5. Before that, he wasn't feeding or anything like that, just kind of slow, not really finding the kills, but finally taking that huge fight. He went from, I'm doing okay, to, I am leading the pack. Back off, Storm. You can't even get on my level. Looks like there's an Orchid coming out for maybe. Has the first Oblivion Staff, 2,200 gold, so he's pretty damn close. to that big pickoff item, rather. And he does have 12 charges on his Bloodstone, so he still had a very good game himself. 5, 1, and 8. Boy, has he been active, involved in 12 of the 13 kills his team has put up on the board. And yeah, there you go. There's that Orchid coming out.
Is it going to be a game-changing Orchid, I guess, is the question. PL's got a Diffusal, so he can just remove that silence. Your Shadow Fiend is a Manta and a BKB, so he's not going to be affected. The one hero who you could go for is Fenrir, who's probably the ideal target, but he's going to have a Yule soon, at which point you may not even be able to kill him. And on top of that, anyone you jump will have living armor to keep them alive, and of course the Doom BKB's coming soon.
Yeah.
It's just not feeling like a great Orchid timing for maybe.
No, definitely not. And also FY, he's going for a pipe on the tree. And an interesting build here. Brown Boots earn straight into the Pipe of Insight. Not an obvious pipe gain. Still a lot of physical damage, but there's a lot of magical damage output as well. A great tool to try and deal with that Chain Frost a little more effectively and not be so scared of the bounces. But here we go. We've seen this story before. Yao initiated on by the Purge. Doom comes out. He will live this time, though. Team support is there. They've got a Force Staff to keep him okay. But Vici happy to zone him out, and now they get to move into this Tier 2 tower. No Glyph, and this baby's falling quick.
The Ag's Doom, when he manages to put it together, it just destroys Bristleback. The passive disabled. He can't stand in the fight, so now they go in. Onto Super, but has the BKB. Necrophos ult comes out, but it's on the BKB Super Shadow Fiend, who tanks it, survives, and now the turn may come. PL Illusions marching in, Yao right back in the fight. They've also brought down MMY Super. Still hanging onto the Aegis here. It will pop. He may die twice, though. Could this be a turnaround? No BKB at this point. Doesn't have the Manta style either. He's just going to go with the Requiem. Come in. Come at me. Well, they will. And they'll kill him once. Make it twice. And not done yet. Maybe. Bali faster than the camera will scroll. Not able to find anyone, though, for that follow-up.
Yeah, unfortunate Vici couldn't make more of that Aegis. That was actually pretty good setup from Super, getting off the Requiem. You're going to get a double Requiem there. If anybody else could have come in to do some damage, I feel like there's a chance that he lives there and they almost find another turnaround key. Even if Fenrir can connect an Earth Spike on 1 or 2 heroes, but just don't have the resources. And all things considered, Vici will still do pretty well for themselves. They get the Tier 2 tower and, well, they get some kills along the way. So still holding on to that edge that they found for themselves. And maybe now down to 9 Bloodstone charges. And a bit of gold that they farmed for themselves will secure the BKB on Doom. So Hal ready to be a little more of a frontliner, perhaps, now that he has some magic immunity.
Yeah, and I imagine for Hal, it's either just the straight refresher or the Shivas. It may stop off for a blink, but that you generally that's what you're going to see out of your Doom as you head towards late game. And
can he get away with a straight refresher? I think he might have mana pool issues.
Yeah.
I think he's almost forced to stop off for the Shivas just for the end gain.
Well, right now, if he just wants to double Doom, I think he can barely get it off. It's what, 375 plus 400. Yeah. So he has just enough with Magic Stick charges and Arcane Boots. He should be okay. But yeah, okay. if he wants to also, I guess, use any other spells, then. Tree didn't even get them. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he's still on Brown Boots. He was rushing the pipe, so...
Yeah, at that point, I guess he's not able to use his other spells. And once the Doom gets up to level 3, he may run into slight issues. So, yeah, Shiva's is kind of your more standard option. The other nice thing with the Refresher is just having a second Doom, like, even if it's not in the middle of the fight, kind of like the Silencer ult, but it does have a bit of a lower cooldown where you'd ideally just want to use it for the double Doom. So yeah, he may go Shiva's first, but at some point, that Refresher is going to be a choice.
Hero FY, the mobile ward that he is, reveals the 5-hero smoke rotation from LGD into the Dire jungle. And they will be repelled. Just pokes his head to the high ground, almost gets caught as he walks into a sentry ward, but the tree lives. And so does his team. Pipe of Insight also now online.
Vici Gaming, going to 5-man around here, working towards their Shadow Fiend Butterfly. The Yasha is out on Ice Ice Ice. Manta will be coming. And LGD feeling a little quiet right now. This should be that stage of the game where they shine. Now, they do have excellent late game of their own. They have the Oh, Hal. Scouted out.
About it.
But he's got the BKB, so they're not... It's not LGD who's going after him. He may be the one who goes after them, but not the other way around. Yeah, I mean, they do have the Necrophos, so I don't think you can say either team has the better late game. It's going to come much more down to who gets the better initiation. Do they get the double Doom off and shut down the Storm Necro? Does the Necrophos delete a key hero from the game with an Aghanim's ultimate? You know, does Storm find a pick off and immediately buy back BOT and get another? there's a lot of different heroes in LGD that can have that impact, and you know, for Vici Gaming running a Tricore, running the Tree Lion duo, we've seen that dirty Tree eggs go super, super late, so... Well, this could be a long one. There is that potential that this goes 80, 100 minutes, but for now, well, we won't count our chickens before they're hatched. Only about 29 minutes in.
I think if that happens, though, Vici have a pretty damn big advantage. As the Tree gets an Aghanims, he'll scale quite nicely. Shadow Fiend Doom, of course, and...
Don't count out the Necrophos, man. I have seen games where you're like, okay, other team has the late game edge, and then he deletes 2 heroes, and they just walk down mid and win, so...
Yeah, I guess that's true. There's always that. He is sort of the ultimate late game trump card. But you know, looking at this PL, if this game goes on long enough, you've got 3 hard carries at that point for the most part, and then a Tree who can lock your entire team in place. It would be an interesting late game. See if we can get there. Looks like the PL actually starting to get some decent momentum here. He's still on that level 1 Diffusal, but Manta style right around the corner here for Ice Ice Ice. Just a couple hundred gold off that recipe. So he is actually starting to transition into a bit of a right-clicker that actually has some kill potential.
Well, now everyone except for Tree has a solution to this Orchid. Yols is complete on Fenrir. And this will be where the Storm probably looks to just farm for late game. Go into your Hex or your Shiva's Guard. Maybe get the BKB along the way. And this is not a stage of the game where he's going to be particularly strong on his own. Barring a huge rune pickup and some team support, but... As far as solo kills, the options are fairly limited.
Yeah. Zhao 8, he's picked up a gem now. He's got the 4 staff on his Lich, looking for some map control for his team. And you look at Dire Wards, and right now they've only got 1. It's right outside the Roche Pit, freshly planted. And we'll see how long it lasts for. Radiant, however, they've got 4 wards kind of centralized around the mid lane. Looks like one of them is just expired, but control around the Roche Pits and vision into that mid lane and the Dire jungle, and then the top rune. So they are ready to gank if they can catch wind of anyone on Vici rotating through by their lonesome.
Yeah, they have excellent wards. Not using them to find kills, unfortunately, though. With a Storm, at least, and a Shadow Shaman, potentially you'd like to, but... Oh, hold that thought. Blink Doom top, and then a Stomp onto Sylar, but Storm's coming! How gonna BKB commits for this one? Now, thinks twice. TP's out. Okay. And he will make it
Thinking he's got enough damage onto Sylar. Is it actually enough, though? Is this a kill? I think it is. They're going to have to deny him here. Yeah, definitely enough damage. Oh, they don't get the deny! Oh, my God. Oh, D. That is a hashtag fail moment.
Sad times here for the Necrophos. But while that was happening, Vici Gaming going to just add insult to injury, taking Aegis as well. Ay, ay, ay.
So is this Necro actually getting Scotty here, or is this like the beginning of a Lincoln's and an Aghanims just picked up in a very odd way?
I highly doubt it's a Scotty. I think it's probably that Lincoln's Ags, but...
I feel like it has to be. I'm trying to think of any reason you would get a Scotty on Necro, and I really can't think of one. If you're looking for stats, I feel like the Bloodstone is just a more natural choice for a hero like this.
Yeah, Point Booster's not a terrible value item, so in that sense, it's an okay way to go, but it does mean that he delays that first big item pickup, and maybe you don't get the Ultimate Orb as a value item. It's not very cost efficient as far as the stats you get for the gold, so I imagine he does complete a Lincoln's here, but Lincoln's can be dealt with. Doom has the level death to remove the Lincolns first, and you've also got the PL...
Phantom Lance, Purge... Hex, Mana Drain. I mean, there's a ton of stuff to break a Lincoln's this game.
A lot of ways to do it.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll see where he goes. He does have a lot of gold saved up right now.
It could even be a Hex. Maybe that's what Sylar wants. It feels like a pretty bad Lincoln's game, actually, to be honest.
He is heading over to the secret shop, so maybe it is just a casual point booster into Hex, and there it is, Scythe of Vice. So good call.
Yeah. It's obviously, a Hex is always a potentially game-winning item. We've seen it just like the Necrophos ultimate when he gets an Ags. It can change things, but
yeah.
At the same time, there's BKBs of 2 of the cores. There's a lot of illusions to worry about, so you could easily miss Hex. Super with the Manta, Ice 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 with the Manta, and not necessarily the best 5v5 item considering how durable Vici Gaming are, but this will allow them to find those pickoffs now. If they ever catch the Doom off on his own, they can jump in with the Storm. Just pull him, try to follow up with this Hex into the Necrophos Reaper Scythe, and get a quick frag that way. So for now, Vici Gaming not flustered at all, just going to calmly remove the final tower left standing outside of LGD's base, and they bottle them up now, securing a 6,000 gold lead, 5,000 experience lead, and just gonna start farming out the map. Well,
yeah, this is where Vici start to feel very good, as we were sort of talking about. They've got that carry advantage, at least for now. Maybe in the late game, once Necro gets 6-slotted, has an Aghanims refresher, he can do some pretty serious counter carry work, but for now, these 3 big cores on Vici are starting to get very scary, and it's only the Storm Spirit who's really farming up to snuff. He's now got a Lincoln's Bloodstone Orchid of his own, but other than that, his teammates looking a little lackluster in terms of farm. The Bristleback with a couple of value items, a plate mail, a vitality booster, but just an S and Y in terms of completed items besides the Drum of Endurance. And now we see the big one, the Butterfly on the Shadow Fiend. And at least they have a Hex now to try to deal with that evasion, but that is their only tool to stop Super from evading all these right clicks.
Yeah, and he's got Manta, he's got BKB, he's got ways to maybe waste your Hex or just prevent it from going off in the first place, so as it often does in Dota as we go towards late game, it looks like it'll come down to who gets the jump. Vici Gaming, though, with a little insurance with that Aegis. And now both teams making their move. It's going to be Vici Gaming into the LGD woods, LGD. Grouping up towards mid, they were on the smoke, and now they may get ambushed. Hal's just waiting, he's poised to pounce here. If somebody walks up this hill, they're done for, but they take the other path, the road less traveled, and oh no, Yao. This could be bad.
Hal scouting out Yao. Okay.
That was surprisingly satisfying to hear. I like the rhyme, man.
Super on the front lines. He's got the Aegis of the Immortal, so feeling pretty good in the front. Will have it for a little bit less than a minute, about 50 seconds to go. So Super will be looking to take a death here.
Oh no! 5-man disconnect in the middle of the fight.
Oh no!
It cost them their Lich off the bat. He did already get Ice Armor on the tower at least, but that's unfortunate.
Oh my! Well,
at least it's only the Lich. It's not the end of the world, but at the same time, are they going to be able to hold without Chain Frost? This is
I was
just
thinking that. Like, you think, yeah, it's just a Lich, but the Chain Frost has been instrumental in a lot of these team fights for LGD to take a pretty good initiation, and he does not have a buyback here. He's 70 gold short. Oh, that makes it sting even more. He's so close. This is a disaster. Oh my.
Kale
indeed.
Or Zyori Kale.
Yeah,
alternative.
Zyori Kale. That worked out a lot. You know,
yeah, I bet you didn't know that was going to work out so well when you made that emoticon.
Just for the love of Kale, and then it turned out that it's actually pretty perfect. So it's one of those things that just kind of worked out. Speaking of Kale, I don't know if you saw that something I linked on Facebook the other day, but it's a Settlers of Catan, but like Brooklyn style, and instead of like the standard resources, they've got bikes, skinny jeans, kale, coffee, and vinyl as the resources. I thought that was hysterical.
That's hilarious. Can you imagine playing like a real-time strategy game with that? That would be great.
All right, I'll trade you 2 kales for 3 bikes.
For like 5 hipster coins or what?
I want to buy it for Brian.
Brian would. What was the joke that Dakota made? We were having an internal BTS meeting earlier today, and he took some shot at Brian. Something about board games. Oh, I forget, but
we were talking about setting up a space and saying that if we just let Brian run away with it when we were all working, and I was joking about how, no, we need one of the Davids available, so he's not just phoning people while we're all casting. And it's like, oh, if that's the case, it's just going to be board games everywhere, the hipster paradise.
So for anyone who doesn't know, K-Poptos is a board game addict, and apparently he went to a local meetup, and he got recognized. And one of the board game people, one of the guys was like, "Oh, you're from I kind of recognize you. Are you from BTS?" And they start asking some questions, and then he started asking where Brian lived. Brian was not very comfortable with this line of interrogation, and he shut it down pretty quickly, but. Yeah,
I do like that.
He is a board game fiend, though.
Go to a board game night, though. That's more initiative than any of the rest of us have taken in terms of making friends with strangers. I do have to give Brian some credit there. He made some new friends, but I guess his efforts somewhat backfired. Goes out and instantly mobbed by the public. Oh, the life of a celebrity.
Yeah, it's rough. Not as rough as this game is looking for LGD now, though, with this disconnect. Oh boy, I don't know, man. I mean, I don't think you can reload because it is LGD's fault, but that's just brutal.
I guess they're probably playing at an internet cafe since they all DC'd at the same time. Probably.
Yeah, they're in a team house. So
they are in a team house.
All the Chinese teams, at least the big name ones, generally play and live in a team house together. So
I gotcha.
One loses internet, they all lose internet. And who knows how long it's gonna be? This is where it's story time. Tell us about Malaysia, Andrew. You did a vlog.
I did.
You had some difficult moments when you went to Major All Stars. Do you want to share any, or any of them fit for the folk out there to hear about?
Fit for the serious nature of Star Ladder. Well, it was one of the more fun things that I got to experience was going to the Invasion LAN Cafe, which we've all seen Team Invasion, and for those of us that aren't from SEA, you always just wonder what kind of a sponsor is that, and it's a LAN cafe. Same with Orange. A lot of those big team sponsors have big internet cafes, and we got to play in the VIP section. They have like the public area for the plebeians, and then they've got the actual like gaming rooms where there's 5 computers, so a team can actually come and shut the door, and it's kind of like their more or less VIP experience. And I'm not sure what Winter said to them, but he got us the hookup. They let us play for free in exchange for taking a picture of us that they could put on their social media. And I thought that was a pretty good deal, honestly, trading a picture of the 3 of us. And it was pretty fun. I got carried on SEA pubs by Parker and Winter. It was a good time.
Mm-hmm. Did you have any Flamer Pinoy teammates, or was everything very mannered and
not too much, actually? It wasn't too bad. Apparently, solo queue is way worse than party queue. So we played, at least when you queue with 2 others, you've got a little bit of a buffer. But Winter was recognized even with his silly name in at least 1 or 2 of the games. I was recognized in 1 or 2 of the games. It was pretty fun. It wasn't that much different from NA pubs or wherever else. It was maybe a little more try-hardy. Our teammates were a little more eager to point out times when we messed up. There was one game where Parker randomed Enigma, and I dared him to go Midas Bloodstone, and he did, and then fed, and our teammates flamed the hell out of him. That was pretty fun. We ended up winning, but he was trying to split push his Bloodstone Enigma, and as you can imagine, that is not a game-winning strategy.
No, that's not the build.
But it was pretty fun. One of the most interesting experiences I had with Winter was when we went out to dinner with his parents. We went to just sort of a classic, I think it was Chinese food, and it was it reminded me of China, actually, where they just bring out the dishes, and it's kind of that lazy Susan style, and you just kind of grab it with your chopsticks. And his parents know Parker pretty well. He stayed at Winter's house before, so they were just asking about general BTS stuff, how it's going, how's America, this and that. And
they actually bunked up there. The last time they were there, apparently, like him and all of CSW were just like, 6 guys in one room or something. It's not a big room from what he said anyway.
Yeah. I saw it. Winter's house is pretty nice, but the spot that they were staying was definitely a little tight for the amount of people they had there. But
they got nice and cozy.
So partway through this meal, Winter's dad just casually turns to me and says, "So, Andrew, how's everything going in the Western Shuffle?" And I just have this look of complete befuddlement of just like, like first of all, enough about Dota to even frame a question that specific. And I'm thinking, like, do you know the Western teams well enough for me to start rattling off players here? And afterwards, Parker said my face was just like complete and utter shock that a man of that generation is up enough on Dota to really know what's going on. And as it turns out, Winter's dad is like, he knows what's going on with Dota. When we showed up, he was like, "Oh, who's this?" And Parker said, "Oh, that's Zyori." And he goes, "Oh, Zyori, yeah, I've seen him on stream before." I'm like, damn, Winter, your family is badass. This is some serious Dota culture here. I was pretty blown away by that.
That's awesome. That's Winter told me that his dad is a pretty serious guy. He was not really on board with the whole Dota thing, but I mean, I guess at this point, Winter has had another full-time job for a while. He actually worked for his dad's company for a bit, and it's like a realtor, I believe. I think that's what he said.
I think his parents work in accounting, if I'm not
mistaken. No. His parents work in accounting, and he didn't really like it, and now he's moved on to do...
Winter does real estate now. I thought that was pretty funny. He's like, "Yeah, I do real estate." I'm like, huh. You sell houses. All right, all right. I could see that.
You could? I can't see that at all. But
Well,
I'm just used to like see Winter play and talk about
so
Dota.
here's the only reason I can see it. Winter's a little different when he's on his home turf, man. He is way more serious. When he was here for DAC, we're pretty friendly with him. We're making jokes. We got the little box making fun of his height and this kind of stuff. And we kind of are like, come on, Winter, come out of your shell, make some jokes. But over there, man, he's like the serious, the very analytical, like he's like makes that killer face. Like there's so many pictures of me with my big ass like smiling as hard as I can, and Winter like hands in his pockets, just making that like don't fuck with me, man, kind of a face. Like he's just
the death stare.
Yeah, that's super serious. Like you wouldn't want to mess with this guy in a pub. It's his brand over there. He's that serious. He's the analyst. He's the sharp dresser. It's kind of funny. I was giving him a hard time. I said I wanted to make a thug life matchup of all the pictures where he's just standing there looking like he's too cool for school.
Oh boy, I don't know what we do in this situation.
See, this is a tricky one.
This is Star Ladder. I believe the rules are
resume.
Yeah, you can't really. At that point, you're just giving them a default loss if you force a resume. So.
And this is also a game that is. There's a lot on the line here. This is the final game to decide who goes to the LAN finals. This is not one of those kind of group stage games where you can easily say, well,
no big deal.
Get them next time. But I don't know. This is tricky. This is where like Vici's pretty far ahead, but not at that insurmountable lead where it seems like an obvious choice to give a default win here to Vici.
The funny thing is, I feel like they could very easily just win the game right now. Like take the Rex. Okay, here we have a reconnect. One back. Okay.
All right, two back. Looks like they're coming back.
All right, so we don't have to start theory crafting about how they're going to play from...
But it could still be rough. Remember, the Lich is dead for a minute with no buyback. And I don't know, do you think Vici will kind of manner back here, given that the Lich was killed while they were DC'd? Or is this shit happens, we're just going to keep playing kind of a... I'm sure they're probably going to discuss it here as they reconnect back into the game.
Yeah, I don't know if LGD are going to ask for a reload. I don't think the Lich is important enough for it to be fair to ask Vici Gaming to not push. Vici Gaming would rather it be 5v5 and they're allowed to push than have to back because the Lich got killed while he lagged out. Now, maybe they try to talk about a reload. I guess that's a possibility. I don't know if it's going to work. It sometimes works on the Europe servers. I know it's been used there. Maybe it won't work in Perfect World. Occasionally, the loading functionality kind of gets out of date. From patch to patch, as things change in the game, if they don't test and update the loads, at some points in the past, it has broken. And in general, it disrupts the flow of the game. But for now, the director is not here. He's remaining at an arm's length from the game while they talk things over.
This is rather unfortunate. Yeah, with the loads, it seems to me usually the longer you are into the match, the higher there's a chance of stuff being messed up.
One of the biggest bugs was that it used to refresh BKB timers when you reloaded. So like all of a sudden, especially with the 5-second BKBs or rather with the fact that you can't buy a new one that has a fresh 10-second duration. That was like a really game-breaking glitch.
That can be really, really big, especially if it's like right after a team fight when a team has their entire BKBs on cooldown. That's like, well, global refresher. Thanks, Year Beast. I didn't realize you were playing today. That's awesome.
Exactly. It's like Year Beast. And they're 10 seconds instead of 5 or whatever, which, it's something you can't even do if you buy a new one anymore. But that was fixed. But it's one of those things where like there's often just something that breaks the longer it's been since a reload. Anyway, Xiaowei comes back in. I guess we're gonna find out real quick if there will be a reload or if they're just gonna have to suck it up.
Yeah, hopefully somebody will translate for us here. Yeah, I think the worst reload situation I ever had was very similar to this, but the problem was there was a lone druid and he was sieging the high ground, and they had this issue where I think when they loaded in there were 2 bears, or his bear was on cooldown or something, and they couldn't. It was either suicide the bear to make it fair where the bear was dead, but that would have meant that their push was ruined, or it was keep the bear and then they basically just win the game. It was at that like 50-minute stage where the bear was just a total machine, and those summons just don't play well with the reload. It always seems to mess up the cooldown, or sometimes with Chen, for example, he'll have 4 creeps and then it resets the internal time or the cooldown to persuade some new ones so we can end up with like an 8 creep army and all this kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, I remember, I think, was it Ake or AUI 2000 that was mentioning that in a... I think he'd mentioned that when there's a pause. And they said the other team was like, okay, you have to suicide all your creeps to Roshan to make up for the bug. I don't know. It was
so earlier on it's a little easier, but in situations like this where you're sieging the high ground, taking the time to suicide creeps is like the make it or break it between getting barracks or backing out. But seems like we may just go here. At least Super seems to be interested in just having a quick unpause.
I don't know if Yao's on the same page. This to me, this sounds like, wait, what? Reload? I know. We got Tony laying down the law as our admin here on behalf of Star Ladder.
All right, Tony. Let's see what you got here.
He may tell Yao, sorry, sucker. You got to deal with it.
Well, Yao says okay. One of those times I really wish I'd studied Chinese.
And this is a BO3. This is your deciding game.
Yeah,
there is no second chance here for LGD. How frustrating is it going to be? Because they already beat VG Gaming 2-1 in the winners bracket, but and you go back to the IG series, that game 2, man, it felt like they should have had it yesterday, Andrew. It really felt like they should have had it, and they just couldn't get the job done. They had, what was it, like a 6K gold lead, double cheese, Aegis, super stacks, I believe it was a Storm, with the Zeus, to scout out the enemy silencer, Earthshaker, and they were going high ground, and they just time and time again ran up against the brick wall that was the IG turtle defense, and ultimately I wouldn't even say they threw the game, they just couldn't end it. It was the most frustrating thing to watch if you're an IG, or if you're rather an LGD fan, but IG just outlasted them, and now they're in a position where the team that they knocked down to the lower bracket may ultimately block their path into the main event.
Yeah, that was a weird game. It basically all came down to the silencer. Once they stopped being able to catch the silencer with the Storm and burst him down, and he could live through that initial rotation and get the global off, that was when IG was like, well, we've basically won all of these fights. And they just had to dive so deep to get that silencer. That was a pretty interesting game. There were a lot of good games yesterday, actually. It was a good day of Chinese Dota.
No, we're getting an up close and personal here with the Doom. He looks pretty cool while he's in Viz.
Really sneaky. Is this the perfect world Doom? Nope, you can see his little mouth there.
His little mouth.
All those teeth.
Is that your best Doom impression?
It's just he's just always making that face. He's like, he's got this awesome underbite, and it's like he has no lips, so he's always just like.
I love the Shadow Fiend expression right now. He's like praying to the heavens.
That's a good effigy, actually. That's a man. I feel like I missed out on a good effigy.
Please, Lord, save me. The Pinhead
captioned like "Sama, please."
The Pinhead requests mercy.
Oh my. LD, what's your least favorite Arcana?
I
think mine's Lena. I don't really like the fiery hair.
I like the Legion Commander. I love the Shadow Fiend. Yeah, I think Lena's the worst Arcana in the game. I would agree with that. Actually, you know what? Crystal Maiden, I find her pretty annoying. I think the dog is stupid. I don't like the direction Valve's going with these obnoxious little pets.
I think the dog
This is not Digimon, okay? This is Dota. You're not collecting them all.
I don't know. I do feel like the dog is... You're pushing it. The thing that I honestly thought it was a courier.
They're on thin ice, man.
The first time I saw it, I actually tried to courier, get it! And then I was like, I can't click on it. What kind of hacks is this? And then I realized, oh, that's a new Arcana that I'm not privy to. Okay. Damn it. That is irritating, because every time I see that little dog, I think it's Dusky the Husky, and I just want to kill it.
It is. I find it like it's actually in theory distracting as well. Like
it is. It really is.
It can get to the point. Imagine if everyone has a little like spirit animal. Okay, we're gonna go here.
Okay, so Lich down, and now they start the siege. There's no glyph for LGD, and this could be rough. Hao hops in, Doom onto Yao. Now the Rasta wards come out. Hao actually ward trapped right now, but he will make it out. Mech comes out, and he'll be okay. Overgrowth, I think it's a total whiff. Actually doesn't connect on anyone, but still the tier 3 tower falls. And looks like Vici will claim Elena Barracks here, LD.
The Ward's not in the best position to fight as they just kind of move to the southern side of them, and now maybe zipping forward, they break the Lincoln Sphere, forcing him back. Vici take their one lane of racks. I don't think the Lich would have made a big difference there, but I guess you never really know. A perfect Chain Frost can win a fight, but yeah, it's tough to hit one of those. They didn't use the Shadow Fiend BKB in the end. He still was sitting on that. Doom also had his own. PL can summon that huge army of illusions and instantly soak up most of the damage, so although it's unfortunate, I think the biggest loss there for LGD is not the death of the Lich for the fight, but the fact that Chao 8 forfeits his gem. That's something FY will scoop up, and yeah, with this, they're going to look to really maintain and increase their map control.
Yeah, if that's an Ags upgraded Lich, I think he makes a big difference there just to clear out creeps with the Chain Frost, but given it's level 2 without an upgrade, yeah, maybe they could have repelled a little more, but probably would have at least still lost the tower, if not the barracks themselves. So where does that put LGD now? At about a 10k gold deficit, somewhere about 5k experience. Vici are definitely starting to take over this game. They do have the farming tools. Midas on Doom is going to let him move into a Shiva's Guard here, it looks like. He's got that Mystic Staff in the inventory now. And Shadow Fiend with another 2200. He's picked up the Butterfly for his last item, I believe. And let's see, any other big items coming? I think that's about it in terms of item progression, except for this Reaver on PL. Ice, Ice, Ice just starting to tank up now, and he's getting pretty big.
Well, LGD, not out of it yet, but this is starting to feel like the kind of game that they're going to need a Necrophos Ags, maybe the Refresher. It seems more and more like they're going to need a trump card to turn this one around, because if they don't have that ability to thoroughly remove a hero from the game, soon enough they will be up against, as you mentioned, the Shivas on Hao, and I mean, it's really not about the Shivas, it's more about the item he gets after that. Once he gets the Refresher, they can double Ags, Doom, ulti, and just, that's pretty much a lane of rack secured. Like, how are you actually going to fight against that?
Yeah, I mean, you take the Bristleback and the Necro out of the fight, that's a huge amount of damage and utility that you've just completely shut down. And even if they live and make it back to the well and get out of range of Doom so that it doesn't keep ticking the ultimate, they're still completely isolated. I mean, good luck deleting heroes when you can't even cast your ultimate, Sylar. Yeah, it's going to be tricky.
Well, so Vici Gaming kind of settling down now. They no longer have the Aegis. It's going to be anywhere from 1 to 4 minutes before Roche respawns, and they'll be very content to wait. As you mentioned, they have excellent late game of their own. 3 heroes that go very late. The PL is really starting to get there with the heart now ready to rock and roll. He's going to deliver it. Oh, the wow. Shadow Fiend Butterfly has been up, as we talked about, and now the next item's coming out. Maybe his own Satanic will be the choice here. Perhaps we see him get like a Lincoln Sphere just to give him an extra piece of insurance that they can use against the Necrophos ulti. But for now, Vici Gaming just beefing up and settling down into a farming rhythm as they wait for this next Roshan respawn.
Yeah, I think right now the biggest problem for LGD is this Necrophos. He's just too underfarmed. You look at the net worth, and he's actually the lowest of all the cores this game. Now getting outfarmed by the offlaner, the Dire side, and you compare him to someone like the Shadow Fiend, and it's just no competition. 22k versus his meager 12. He picked up that Scythe, and like you were talking about, it helps, but isn't really a game-breaking item here. The problem for LGD is not really lacking in crowd controls. It's lacking in damage at this point, and having that Ags upgrade, I feel like, would be so much more valuable at this stage.
It almost feels like he needs everything. You know, he needs that. Yeah. He needs the Ags. He probably does want the Scythe, and on top of that, he ideally needs a Refresher as well. But they just don't have solutions for BKBs. Is the big concern. When a hero BKBs, what do? Well, speaking of which, Hao blinks in. He could pop his BKB if necessary. He's going to Doom Sylar to start. No Shivas to chase this. And now we'll turn in a bit of a rage and start slapping down MMY's Shadow Shaman. He drops fairly low to these wards. I believe their Ags upgraded as maybe. Zips on forward. Hunting in the tree line. Now maybe going to be forced to TP out.
But or not. Just getting the Rasta wards down is a bit of a victory here for the Dire side. Now the rest of the fight breaks out. Zhao Wei tries to TP home, but Phantom Lancer joins the party, charges on in. And that's going to be a 2 for both supports on the Radiant side will be down. And Rasta wards on cooldown now for about a minute and a half.
That's your completed Shiva's Guard for Doom, 1,500 gold, about a third of the way towards the Refresher. And Roche, what do you know? The big boys just respawned. perfect timing here for Vici.
Oh, yes, indeed it is. And this is even more scary here. This is Roche 3. That's Aegis Cheese for the Dire side to claim. Nearly 5,000 gold on Super. So a couple options for him, but whatever he wants, he'll be getting there pretty darn soon. That's a big fish. They're going to chop him up, and who's going to get what here? I think Aegis should go to the Shadow Fiend. Maybe they'll give the cheese to the Doom. I don't know, LD. This is starting to look really rough for LGD. I'm not sure how they go about reclaiming momentum here. I mean, they could try some smoke rotations, but it feels to me like they can't really take a straight-up 5v5 fight. They need to find some kind of an edge, whether it's a pick-off, whether it's through just catching them with a right angle to initiate, but they need to do something here.
They just don't have the best heroes to force mistakes, really. Like, you know, it's not like they have the Earthshaker where that one game-changing ultimate can come in and just win you a fight, or a Magnus-type hero, even an Enigma. Looking at their heroes, the one spell that we keep on talking about that in theory could change the game is a Reaper's Scythe, but there's no Ag, so it really can't do it. And even the Ag's ultimate is not... The best counter to that is having something like an Aegis that just allows you to come back, and that's exactly what Vici Gaming have right now. Plus, they're running a Tricore, so even if he had the Ags, you kill one carry, isn't going to matter. And well, of course he doesn't, so that's a moot point. It feels like Vici Gaming, this is one of the best chances they're going to have this game to just close it out. If they throw this fight, if they somehow drop, then maybe the game turns. Now a zip in, kiting a bit, trying to bait out BKBs, but Vici not taking that bait. Very patient on their siege.
Still a glyph available for LGD. They'll hold the siege for now. Again, just chipping away. There's your Chain Frost. It will take some bounces, but Doom comes out onto Yao. That'll push him back towards the well. They're still holding on to their glyph. A couple of BKBs used. Looks like just Howls for now.
No, they're getting good damage on this Rex, right? Or this is a tower right now. The tier 3 starting to really drop low. They may want to wait for the Doom to cool down. Chain Frost was used, but I think Doom is the more important of the two spells. It's a reliable way for Vici Gaming to take a hero out of the fight. The Chain Frost, honestly, is very liable to do nothing, as we continue to harp on in this cast. So
this is
they'll just wait for Doom.
Yeah, and this is just about the timings here. They need to wait for Doom. They'll still have plenty of time on the Aegis once that's cooled down. And I think almost more importantly, they force out the glyph. So this next time, LGD won't have that reset tool, and they can just slow siege the tower, then eventually the barracks, and force LGD to kind of make that choice. Do we want to take the fight outside of the base, or do we want to watch our structures get picked off? And this is more time for Doom to close in on that refresher. Perseverance, 2,200 gold. He's not that far away, and once that item comes out, oh boy, do things get tricky for LGD. He's sold his Midas now, so Hal really gearing up towards that late game and filling up those inventory slots.
Yeah, this is going to be a 6-slotted Doom pretty soon. Refresher will come out, then you get BOTs and buyback, and I don't really think there's anything else I would say that he goes for at that point. He can maybe try to play a 7-8 slotted Doom, you know, have like a refresher on a courier and then carry something else in his inventory, but he's pretty much done. Super could get the Satanic and BOTs. He's almost done. PL has a little more room to work with as an offlaner. Ice. Could still go for the Butterfly. Maybe he gets a Daedalus, but honestly, they're pretty much there, man. This is the item, Andrew. This is it.
Oh, here we go. The Aghanim Scepter. They do need to find kills with it, though, on key targets. That can be easier said than done. They still have to get him into the threshold for the Reaper's Scythe to find the kills. But Vici go right up to the high ground. They start chipping to the tier 3, but LGD, they pose the defense straight away. Maybe trying to pull attention off of the structures. He'll be semi-successful at that, but now Hal comes in. Shiva's Guard used. Holding on to the Doom for now. Zhao 8 falling quickly to the Shadow Fiend illusions. He will force that back, but force back to the well. Now that the barracks are exposed, they'll go for the sure damage on the ranged barracks. Now, Pipe used, and the Serpent Wards come down. Vici being very smart about this. They move back to the low ground Super, taking a lot of damage with the BK Beyond. But remember, he's got the Aegis. Now the Chain Frost will bounce around. Overgrowth comes out. Who will be the first to fall? It's a Requiem from Super. Now they bring down Yao and Sylar. MMY, the fourth to fall. Zhao 8 as well. Buyback from the Bristleback. But it's feeling like this could be a GG moment. LD, 3 heroes in the grave with no buybacks available. All 5 still alive for Vici.
I didn't even see where the Doom got used. Was that thrown onto the Lincoln Sphere by any chance?
It could have been. I didn't see it come out either.
Well, in any case, it doesn't seem they really need it. If it was used, it was on a hero who died almost instantly, and Now Vici Gaming gonna look for their second lane of racks with the buybacks. They'll try their best to hold, but it seems Vici Gaming, too much beef in the front lines. They'll stun maybe, they'll bring him down, and although he has buyback, he's not even using it. LGD, a heartbreaking game 2, or rather game 3 loss, maybe in the offing here. They beat Vici Gaming in the winners bracket 2-1, but they couldn't get the job done here. Now they watch their base burn, the structures fall, tier 3 down, racks about to drop, and despite this buyback, Vici hanging tough in the base. Maybe this will turn it a little bit. They get off a Hex on the Super, has a Manta, now they're going to shackle him. Can they get the kill? They will with the Necrophos Axe. He's gone for 120, but it doesn't seem to matter. The PL army comes marching forward, and now zooming around onto Shao 8. They get almost Megas already. They may lose Ice, but LGD need massive objectives to make this pay off.
Yeah, just the ranged barracks sitting at the top to prevent the Megas from coming out, but crippling damage at this point, and the hope of a turnaround for LGD looking pretty grim. They get about a 4,000 net worth gain out of that little pick-me-up fight with the buyback off of maybe. You look at the graphs, and they are telling a very scary story here. The cheese, not sure if it was used there. Looks like it was. But you look at current gold, and Vici are still feeling pretty good. Pretty much everybody on their team sitting around 2,000 gold plus. Just ready to be spent all whenever their hearts desire. Even this tree feeling pretty good in terms of farm right now.
Just takes one more good fight. And for LGD, with the Ags, Necro, it's going to take a multitude of fights. They're now farming creeps that give them a lot less, and they're starting to TP everyone in mid. We may see them go for a big death ball down the lane, but while that's brewing, they get a Doom up on maybe bottom. There's no buyback, only 7 Bloodstone charges. He is going to drop down for 80. And all the wind that LGD were trying to put behind their sails just flew right out.
Well, smart plays from Vici to find the kill there. Now Doom should have a refresher on the way. He certainly does. He's got a refresher, and there's a Blink Dagger for FY also.
They're going to find Tao, though.
Do they kill him here? Hexed up, Shackles, no support inbound. Chain Frost will fly in, and, well, deleted from the game. Good night, sir. He'll be down for 111 seconds. Okay.
They still have to get through a tier 2 here in the mid lane. The bottom lane doesn't have creeps pushing. And they're going to have to go defend their base soon. Without the storm, I wouldn't count them out 100%, but it just takes no throws for Vici. That's the key thing here. Don't get caught totally out of position. Play it safe. Sylar will get chopped down in the mid lane by the Shadow Fiend. That Necrophos is looking like a support with how quickly those crits laid him down in his grave, and he has a buyback, maybe forced to use it. In the meantime, your Shaman found isolated and picked off in the woods. Well, it may not even matter. Buyback comes out for the Necro. Ice. Not even going for Megas. Wants to build up his Illusion army top. Hangs on, plays it safe. They don't want to start feeding kills away with this buyback as Storm races forward, zip onto Super. The Impale is there, but maybe had the Lincoln, so he won't be stunned. Super, still no Manta, still no BKB. They slap him down, they kill him off, but Sylar runs low on mana. The ult's going to cool down in 1 second, but who's he going to hit? You can't tell, and that's a dieback. Didn't have any idea which Illusion to go on, didn't have a chance to use it, and this PL's so out of control.
Big. It doesn't even matter that the Shadow Fiend or Doom are stuck in the grave. The PL's doing all the carrying they need at this point. That'll be it for LGD. They call the GG, and it's Vici Gaming that'll be joining Invictus Gaming here for the Star Ladder Season 12 LAN Finals.
What a tough loss for LGD. I honestly feel like if these teams play, 13 games in a BO13, it could easily be 7-6. And I feel... Even for IG, although they took that series, I think it was 2-0 yesterday. I believe it was 2-0. It was very close anyway versus LGD. I feel like LGD could have won that series if they'd just been a little bit luckier, had slightly better execution. All the top teams in China look very close. And when I say all of them, I guess it's LGD, IG, and Vici. Right now, Newbie looks a little bit weaker, but it seems the roster shuffle has paid off across the board. There are some juggernauts right now in the China region.
Yeah, absolutely. It'll be awesome to see IG and VG at the LAN finals. Hopefully, fingers crossed, no visa issues, and we'll get to see a true Chinese showing here at this Star Ladder. I'm excited, man. I'm pumped up. This Star Ladder season just got that much more exciting.
This is going to be a big LAN finals. fingers crossed that they do make it. It is in Romania now instead of Ukraine, and
I think that's good. I think that's an upgrade from Chinese visa perspectives, but honestly,
Yes.
I'm not entirely sure.
It's not my personal area of expertise, Chinese-Romania relations, but we'll just have to hope and pray that both of these teams can make it. So for now, guys, that wraps up Starladder China. That's it. We're all done. We know who's going. There are still European qualifiers concluding. Is that it? I think America's over now. We know it's going to be Tinker representing America.
Let's take a look here. So, IG, Vici, Tinker, the other qualified teams, looks like SEA is not finished yet. They are still finishing their group stages, so that still has a little ways to go. And it looks like, yeah, Europe still has quite a ways to go also.
Down to 2 regions. So we're down to Europe, and Europe is now into phase 2. So we've got the second groups. They do a double round of groups. It's kind of an interesting format for Starladder. But, well, Summit 3 is about to pick up. As Starladder begins to wind down and close in, this is where we get into the nitty-gritty. We've already got one team qualified. Rave will be representing Southeast Asia, but still a lot of other regions to figure out. So, guys, thank you very much for watching. This is going to conclude the broadcast. If you enjoyed it, be sure to follow Zyori at ZyoriTV on Twitter. If you'd like, you can follow me as well at LDdota. And, of course, at Beyond the Summit to stay tuned for all your Dota 2 action. I believe we've got other games going on right now. Lysander is casting Summit 3 China action. We're in Phase 1, or pre-qualifiers, if you will. Dream Gaming versus CDEC. That's at twitch.tv/Beyond the Summit.